Hi everyone, Aidan here with etrailer.com. Today we're taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 bike rack on our 2022 Ram 1500. The Destination is a platform-style bike rack. Holds the bike in these trays and primarily by the frame. The frame contact is this cradle with a strap run around it, and that cradle rotates 360 degrees and is height adjustable. That's going to make it work really well with alternative frame bikes and kids bikes, unlike some of the other platform racks that rely on a frame hook that comes straight down on top. They don't typically do well with really aggressive down tubes like this or just any other sort of alternative frame. With this in mind, frame contact does mean we want to avoid carbon frame bikes because it can damage the frame, and there is a 35-pound weight capacity per bike, so as long as we're staying within those limits, we should be just fine. Now this is a more entry-level platform style rack, and that means that we don't have all the same features that we might see on something like a Kuat NV 2.0. That's a very premium rack that has a lot of fancy features and is very, very nice to use, but we don't have all those here, like tilting away with the bikes loaded. This rack, it can be flat like this or folded up against the truck. So if we need access to the back here, we're not going to be able to get it with our bikes loaded up. That's pretty easy though. We can unload the bikes, starting with our wheel straps at the bottom. These are our secondary points of contact. Just push in on the gray button, pull out the strap, and then they're free. And then the strap up top on the cradle is going to work the exact same way. Just be sure to steady the bike as you're doing this and loosening it up. And then you can lift the bike up and away. Now because it has that center mast, that does present a bit of an obstacle to work around when you are loading and unloading. Luckily, it's not too tall, and it is okay and pretty easy to get around, but it is still there, and it is still in the way. Not going to be as easy as something without a center mast. I always like to replace these straps on the tray, and then we can fold down the mast by loosening this hand knob and flipping the plate that's holding it back, and folding this to either side. I'll go to this side right here, and we can use the open strap to actually tie it down to the tray. That'll keep it from popping up on its own and just keep it in place. From here we can get access to the back here, but it does make contact. I'm going to let it set down very gently. I wouldn't want to sit on the tailgate here if I need to change my shoes before or after a ride. But if you do need to get something out of the back, you can do it. It is going to give you better access. I just wouldn't put a lot of weight here so we're not putting pressure on the bike rack like that, or risking damaging our tailgate with paint and metal contact. In this state, we can check some measurements though. Our ground clearance is going to be pretty good here. Our hitch is high up off the ground. We have a good rise in the shank. And at the lowest point, it's 26.5 inches of clearance. Something we're not really going to have to watch out for or worry about. Our distance added to the back of the truck does come in at about 41 inches. So that is a bit added to the length here. You want to be mindful of that when you are driving around. But if you have bikes unloaded and we want to leave this in the hitch, we can fold it up to save some space by pulling a clip and unthreading this pin on the other side. We've got a nice big hand knob to undo that. And then after we fold the bike rack up, we can re-secure that pin, re-thread it in, and put the clip on the other side. Now I like that it's threaded because this actually stabilizes the pivot point a lot and keeps this whole bike rack really solid. Putting that clip back in, that new measurement is going to be 13.5 inches that we add to the back. So it's a lot more condensed, easier to fit in a parking spot or something like that. Again, just keep in mind that it's back here. With it like this, we do still get good visibility of the license plate. We have full visibility of our taillights. It doesn't block the back window or anything, but it does block our back camera quite a bit. You should be able to see around it in some places, but it will be a pretty big obstruction because of where it lines up with that camera. Down at the hitch, it's working with our 2" by 2" receiver tube, and it comes with a locking anti-rattle bolt that keeps things solid and secure in the hitch. Now overall, if you're looking for a 4-bike rack that's going to be a platform rack, you don't have to worry about bike adapter bars or anything like that like you might on a hanging style rack, or you just don't want to go for a tailgate pad on your truck, this is a nice option. My one downside of it is it doesn't tilt away with the bikes loaded, and even with bikes unloaded, you can't get full access to the bed here. That's really only an issue if you want to sit on the tailgate before or after your ride. Otherwise, I don't think it's too big of an issue, and it leaves your truck being pretty usable, and it fits on there really well. Thanks for watching.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First, we'll start with the slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.